Ladies and gentlemen, I know why this hall is packed. It is the era of Mahasangrams. Across the world, we've got Russia versus Ukraine, we've got Israel versus Hamas, we've got Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. Closer to home, we have husbands versus wives. We've got the opposition versus the ruling party. And much closer to home, we have husbands versus wives. And of course, we've got Arnab versus the rest. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Retail and Real Estate Mahasangram. Sushil Dungarwal has very beautifully said that retailers are the soul of the mall. If that be so, then real estate is the body of the mall. And the well-being of both body and soul augurs well for the future of the retail industry across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, the health of India's retail real estate is directly linked to the health of the Indian economy. It is bolstered by ever-evolving market dynamics and ever-changing customer preferences, customer evolution, and customer demands. Our Mahasangram will go much beyond just speculation. We will dive into real-world scenarios, specific case studies, successful business models, and emerging trends, and the impact they will have on the landscape of India's malls. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got two teams out here, a team representing the retailers and a team representing retail real estate. Let's meet the team from Retail Real Estate. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chief Operating Officer, Nexus Malls, Jayen Naik. Chief Operating Officer, Nexus Malls, Jayen Naik. And we'll request you to take your seats to the right of stage. We've got 5 of you out there, so to the right. He is Executive Director, Tapadia City Centre, Amravati. Let's make some noise for Madhur, Laddha. Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Executive Officer, In Orbit India Malls Private Limited, Rajneesh Mahajan. Let's make some noise for the Director, Shopping Malls, Lulu Group, Shibu Phillips. Ladies and gentlemen, the gloves are off with a name like this. Chief Executive Officer, Forum Malls Prestige Group, V. Muhammad Ali. Ladies and gentlemen, now the soul of the mall, the retailers. Please welcome Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Sports and Leisure Apparel Limited, Lacoste India, Rajesh Jayen. He is Chief Executive Officer, Spiker Lifestyles Private Limited. Let's say hello to Sanjay Vakharia. Sanjay Vakharia? Okay, hopefully you'll join us during this Mahasangram. Let's welcome the Chief Executive Officer, Being Human Clothing, Sanjeev Rao. It's time to welcome our two moderators. On behalf of... Hello, check. On behalf of Real Estate, please welcome Executive Director, Pacific Group, Abhishek Bansal. Our moderator on behalf of the retailers is Managing Director, Dhishoom Cinemas. Beautifully named. Tushar Dhingra. Ladies and gentlemen, Margaret Heffernan has said, for good ideas and true motivation, you need human interaction, conflict, argument, and debate. On that note, let's hand over to Abhishek and Tushar to take us through this Mahasangram. Gentlemen, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Can I hear a good morning, everyone? Good morning. Okay, great. So, सुबह से स्टॉलवर्ड्स देख रहे हैं आप. आज ये बुके ऑफ स्टॉलवर्ड लेके आए हम लोग. So, introduction already हो चुका है. I'm now wearing the hat for retailers and will discuss some challenges that the retailers, we think retailers face, and how we can, collaborate and make things good and easy for both the parties. Over to you, Tushar.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good to see you here and good to see a packed hall. And you said it right. Collaboration is the way to go. And I think there is a lot we can discuss here. There's a lot of depth and width on this panel. So why don't we just start?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, equity की बात करते हैं.
Just one second. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. See, we are talking about collaboration. There is no Mahasangram, it is Mahasangam. So there shouldn't be any divide in between. Should we join the chairs?
जुड़ जाइए, please जुड़ जाइए.
I think that
जुड़ने के लिए बीच में मॉल के पिलर्स हैं भाई. क्या पिलर्स को हटाने पड़ेंगे.
इधर आ जाओ.
हाँ, that's better.
मैं जब अपने डेवलपर्स दोस्तों से बात करता हूँ तो एक अभिषेक से ही बात करी तो सुबह हम बात कर रहे थे. ही सेड कि यार डेवलपमेंट ना फेंट हार्टेड नहीं है. तो मेरा पहला सवाल आप लोगों से ये है, जब कॉस्ट ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन एंड एफएसआई कॉस्ट इज ओनली गोइंग अप एंड विल कंटिन्यू टू गो अप एंड देयर इज इकोनॉमिक्स फॉर अ रिटेलर, how do you create a parity where both of the development works, retailers work, and this becomes a story which is of growth and progress, and everybody is making money in this process. Rajneesh, maybe you start that.
I think the fundamental belief retailers have and we have for investing in our respective businesses that India is a growth story. And we all are going to see higher level of consumption and at a higher price point, at a larger scale. So if you see 10 years back, 1,000 TD at a mall level was very successful mall. Today, 2,000 rupees a TD, and that's not Tushar Dhingra, that's the trading density, is definition of a successful mall. And I'm sure 10 years down the line, we will be talking about 3,500 or 4,000 rupees. So if consumption is going to keep increasing, and that will have a percolation down to the land cost and to the construction cost and everything else. But I believe India is a growing story and is a growing story for next 50 years. So a lot of investment, both on retailer side and our side, will happen to grow this industry.
Thank you. But कभी-कभी ऐसा होता है ना कि एवरेज टिकट प्राइस या आरपू जो है वो कम है, मैं रिटेलर उतना पैसा नहीं दे सकता हूँ, तो उस ऑक्यूपेंसी कॉस्ट को कैसे मिटिगेट करेंगे? अली, मे बी यू वांट टू आंसर.
Well, according to me, the number shouldn't come first. When we discuss the opportunity, the solution to this problem is neither with the developers, neither with retailers. The solution to this problem is with the customer. So, if we have to answer this, we have to say what is a justifiable percentage of sale that can be used as an occupancy cost, and if we can jointly work how to increase that consumption, because that's where the answer is. So when you increase the consumption, 1,000 rupees a square feet is affordable. And if there is no consumption, then pure revenue share is also not affordable. So the answer lies with the consumption and the solution lies with the customer. So while discussing any property, we have to closely evaluate the opportunity that we are looking at and how we can make it better, how the offering can be more relevant, and how it can appeal to the customer from a larger perspective, not just the offers and convenience. So we go deeper in understanding and we share that understanding. That's something that we need to take from each other, because we have certain understanding, but then we don't have the access to the understanding the level which retailers have, but that we don't have access to and we don't know. So we are creating a mall with a certain thought process. We are designing the mall with a certain experience in mind. But if we know what the customers are and what customers are consuming, then maybe we can design the malls differently. I mean, maybe the cinema sizing can change. Maybe the hypermarkets can be or not be. I mean, there are a lot of things that we can discuss once we understand the customer. So the problem is there's no customer here, but and then there's no one person who can claim to be the customer. But
understanding and sharing the understanding and co-creating is a solution. So if we have the consumption, then hopefully 2,000 rupees trading density can become 2,000 rupees per square feet.
Okay.
Tushar, just to give you a story here, you know, 1999, we were opening Planet M stores with Times Group, and one of the family member in Turner Morrison Group was opening Barista cafes, and it was not a group company, but it was a related from the relationship side. There was the same family running both businesses, and South malls were not there. I think DLF and MGF were about to open their mall in Gurgaon that time. And Southex was the market to be in. If you are a retailer, you will like to be in Delhi in Southex market. So Planet M took ground first and second and pushed us to the third floor as barista, and because we could gently. And in 2 years' time, when the streaming and all happened, and the music was available on internet free, we took the ground floor and they went up. And then the industry changed, they went out completely, and we went back onto the upper floor. So, you know, each business will relate to certain consumption, will have a certain affordability. And if everybody wants to be on ground floor, we only have to make malls in Middle East and not in India.
Well said. Thank you, Abhishek.
So since we are talking about ground floor, let me come to Rajesh. So since TD is the key word here, everybody's been talking about key TD. पिछले सेशन में भी TD की बात हो रही थी. So Rajesh, TD बहुत important है और उसी से derive होता है what you're paying to the developer, of course. So tell us a few things that you expect the developer to do. देखो एक तो है कि आपका inflation से आपका एक price बढ़ रहा है तो आपका year to year एक growth दिख रहा है और कुछ आप नए products introduce कर रहे हो. What do you want the developers to do for you when you are in their shopping mall कि आपका TD बढ़े या आपका ASP बढ़े या per person spend बढ़ता है या throughput बढ़ता है? What is it that you expect from the developers?
So first of all, Abhishek, good morning, friends. First of all, you should give us a good space, large space on the ground floor. That will definitely increase the TD for our stores for sure, because it becomes very visible. So jokes apart, I think developers are doing a lot. I don't think that developers or retailers are two separate sides of a coin anymore. It's actually the same side where both developers and retailers have to collaborate and take it forward. If there are no developers, retailers have no meaning. There wouldn't be any good malls, so people will not come. Similarly, if there is a beautiful mall and the relevant retailers are not there, people would still not visit that beautiful mall. To bring the customers to the mall, it is a joint responsibility, but to some extent, from retailers' perspective, we would say that to make a beautiful mall and bring the customers inside the mall is slightly more responsibility of a developer. But once the customer is inside the mall, then it is the duty of the retailers that they have to present themselves in such a great manner that the customers would like to step inside the stores and do good shopping and get great service. That's an extremely important point these days. That is the only way when you can bring the customers back to your mall and back to your stores again and again. That will definitely increase the TD. However, to bring the customers to the mall, I would say what perhaps currently I don't see much is the communication to the customers. We as retailers, as brands, we do communicate to the customers to bring those customers to the mall, to our stores. But I don't see too much of communication from the mall side. Some malls have started it, including your mall has started it, and people sitting on this panel, they have also started to some extent. But to bring the customers to the mall is extremely important to increase the trading density, to the footfall in the mall. That is where developers can definitely take it to the next level.
I completely agree with what you're saying. The only challenge from a developer's perspective is this, though the consumer or the customer is common because he's shopping in the same environment, but what happens is that the customer becomes so exclusive to the brand because end of the day, the data of that customer remains with the brand. And how does the developer actually communicate with that customer? I think that puzzle is still not clear. Maybe Shibu, if you want to add something to that you are running things as a retailer and as a mall developer, so you have a common customer where you have the data. But for developers who do not have the data of people shopping into individual shops, how does a developer communicate with them and ensure that they are talking about the latest things that are happening in the mall?
Hi, good morning. See, the era has completely changed. There were eras of 2000 and 2003 when I was part of Inorbit when we launched. That time we were always believing that the malls will be better designed. We will ensure that the ingress and egress is made well. We will ensure that all the facilities are made nice, big parking, the entire zoning will be done properly. And the retailers will pull the customers into the mall. But now things have changed, the dynamics have changed. The retailers have actually not yours only. The retailers also have one more business because of their omni-channel presence. They are pushing many of the consumers to come online. The one big change which has happened in the last 3 years post-COVID is that the most common question or suggestion which is given by a retailer when a customer is coming to the mall and in a store in the mall is, "Sir, we have an online platform. This size might be available in the online. Why don't you check in the endless aisle there?" Your customer is gone. So it is important for all the mall developers sitting here that please and please start planning your own programs to make that customer your customer, and he will always remain to come to your shopping mall because of XYZ reasons. And like David said, loyalty programs are a very big thing for that. I know that no one is loyal today for anything, but you still have to have your own reasons by making your shopping centers lively with lot of initiatives, with 52-week marketing initiatives, by ensuring that that loyalty is pulled in. Then both of them remain with you. The retailers also remain with you and the customers also remain with you. So that is one big change. I think they are, the shopping center developer, if it doesn't use the current technology to take that data from a customer through, because you are meeting the customer first. When he enters your parking, you can read his number plates. You can know the type of cars he is having. You can create loyalty programs in the parking to know him also very well. You can use your WhatsApp to start talking to him. And that's the reason which retailers are saying. Retailers are telling the customers, talk to me through WhatsApp. I'll give you the current information. What information they need is, where is this store? Can I get this product there? Does the retailer have a promotion in the store? Tell him to talk to you on the WhatsApp rather than on the information desk through a person. The moment he chats to you on the WhatsApp, the data is yours. Then start communicating through him through various things. Call him for the next biggest movie of Shah Rukh Khan, first show. Treat him on Valentine's Day with his family. With that, what happens here is he becomes loyal to you. And then what happens is there is a win-win happens between retailer, because the moment you go to a retailer and say, I have this program where, I have a club. Where we've started creating clubs in our mall. Because of a business interest of hotels and various other businesses, we are now using these customers, giving them various other platforms to use that club for. Then go to the retailer and say, have this club where people are paying us 1 lakh and 2 lakhs to be part of the program. Why don't you give them offers? They will give you to you. So I think it's important for shopping developers in this current era, if you want to be there as a known shopping center, then please have your own customers develop that attitude. Develop a team who has that attitude. Then only there's a win-win-win happening here.
Thank you. Very, very insightful. For a customer journey, hybrid retail, omni-channel is part of the shopping experience. Is this something, how will we collaborate? Is it a friend or an enemy? If you could, Mr. Nexus, give us a little, insight.
So let me answer this question and go back to the first question that you raised. रजनीश जी को तो मालूम पड़ जाता है कि भाई 3 साल में ये मॉल बन रहा है तो कितना कॉस्ट आएगा, क्या है. We are in the acquisition mode. One fine day, Blackstone tells us that this is the cost that you have to recover now in so and such time. In order to do that, sir, there are 3 ways that we look at. First, Nexus does not look as a mall developer. Nexus looks at ourselves as a retailer itself. Our entire theory is based on that we are here to create sales for each and every retailer and each and every person that is within us. अगर सेल बढ़ेगा स्वाभाविक है कि हम पैसा भी बढ़ा पाएंगे, स्वाभाविक है कि हम ज़्यादा भी कमा पाएंगे. And in the entire history of this last 6.5 years when we have acquired malls, we cannot give one, we can give n number of examples where we have changed and we have gone with the consumption story higher. That is also done by innovation. I'll give you one small example of how we have trained our own center directors also to ensure that they look at the consumption first. And that's the first thing that is asked. In fact, we were the first mall owners to have a automated daily reporting system which gives us the daily sales of all our 17 malls across all 14 cities. So Mr. Dilip Saigal can tell you exactly what is the sale of each mall on the next day by 4 o'clock. And that's the kind of system that we have created. But to give you an innovation of how we have trained our people also to ensure that they function as a good sales and marketing person for each and every retailer that is there within. One of the key things that was observed by one of our center directors was that in a recent Zudio store that was opened, they were doing very well. They were doing a TD of almost 1,500 start. But उन्होंने जो 8,000 स्क्वायर फीट का जगह लिया था, उसमें से 1,100 स्क्वायर फीट was in back area. They liaised with the company. We ensured that we gave them a storage space which was outside of this thing. Increase the merchandise area, increase the service area, increase the cash deals from 6 to 10, increase the trial rooms from 4 to 6. Today the same store does a TD of 2,000 rupees. And nobody is unwilling to pay us more money. So giving that, I think that is one of our, that is how we have done, and that is how we look at. Hybrid models are always there to stay. Omnichannel is something, like Shibu said, will be the order of the day tomorrow. What we have done in order to understand the customer better, we ourselves launched our own app. So we are not relying on, unfortunately, we have liaised with the shopper stop to be or with the lifestyles to be to get their inner circle data. Nobody gives us. So no issue. We have launched our own app. You spend money. You're diversified into it. And today, the app is running in 6 of our malls. We already got 2 lakh downloads and 1,44,000 active customers as of today. And we hope that this journey will keep on increasing. So that we will not be only relying on data that is going from the retailers, we will be relying on data that is available with us at each and every mall.
Not only about the data, is about the customer experience from omni-channel and hybrid, retail is what I wanted to also.
Sir, always remember in an e-commerce situation, a customer, when he's seeing on the mobile, which is an X screen, and once he comes to a store and the touch, feel, try theory, that is always going to be there, he's not going to go out of business. In fact, what we tried and did, and we talked to our retailers during COVID also and otherwise, that why don't you come up with a formula whereby you say that you can go back, and returns is one of the biggest issues. We heard David McAdam talking about 30-40% of the things being returned. We liaised with them and we said that why don't you ask the customer to go to the nearest shopping center that is there and you can return the goods there. Effectively, it will save you the material. It will also get the customer an immediate exchange. And of course, it has not been dramatically successful. I'm not saying that everybody has done it. But whoever has done it with us has been really successful as such. In COVID times, when you know that this thing was closed, what we did with our QSRs, we said that the delivery was open. Rather than worrying too much about कि कितना margin लेंगे, कितना करेंगे, क्या होगा, क्या नहीं होगा, we actively said, okay, let us liaise with each and every QSR and let's open the business for you. You use this kitchen, which is right there, and deliver to the entire this thing. And I think we did phenomenally well in that particular. We earned, in fact, more money than anybody else did, primarily because we were able to get this particular thing going. So it's a question of mindset. The day, I guess, that the mindset opens out and we move from just being a great facility manager and just being a great person who develops nice-looking malls, to thinking that what is required for the consumer and what is required for the retailer, I think that's where.
Can I add a point there on that? The hybrid model part of it, I think we don't have an option because customer is the king. So, and consumption has to take place. And obviously we have a limitation in terms of real estate of how much you can stock. So there has to be a hybrid model. It has to function. The consumption will only get unlocked when there is more variety because he has more options. The probability of shopping happening is more when you have more stock. So you don't need to have a physical stock to have a proportionate sale jump. So we have to create those experiences, and we welcome those options within the mall, and Omni has to be the option. The stores have to be designed. It's an interface for a customer to feel the product, sense the product. So he has to come in a certain environment to understand the chemistry, to understand the brand personality. But that particular item that he would want to buy may not be in the mall or in the store, but it's okay. What is to be done is that the consumption has to be recorded at the store level. So you let the transaction happen. So we all should support on consumption taking place, options being made available, offers being made available. Let the customer choose, pay, let it be delivered at home. Maybe he tried some other size, he tried something else, but he's buying something else. So that is when we really unlock a different level of game. But the business, the recording of the business has to take place in the same pause. What Jayen said, on a daily basis, they are accessing, and everybody's been doing that for many decades now. So if that can be recorded, then we should jointly see how we can increase. And the answer is still in the consumption. So I think that's what my point is.
Is it being recorded transparently? Is it happening in a manner that rigor is there?
I think the retailer should answer that question. I think this has been discussed. Okay, what is the actual sale? Then so on and so forth. Then we have this pause, and then we have an audited sales report which comes. But yeah, we would like to hear what actually happens.
I think we'll take this to Sanjeev now.
May I add one more thing to what all the developer friends said, that about the online and offline? See, it's not in the hands of the retailers. Consumers are evolving. They want ease, they want convenience also. So the option with the retailer is either to turn away that customer forever, or to at least enable the brand online, so that in the hope that customer would start coming to the shop also. Honestly speaking, if you ask three of us, we would perhaps, all of us would perhaps like to bring the customer to the stores, because we can give the complete experience, and when we give the complete experience, that customer becomes the repeat customer, not the online customer. So it's to ensure that the customer doesn't turn away, that we offer that online experience. Otherwise, we would like them to come to the store and take the experience.
Yeah, of course. I think experience is king, and my developer friends will agree that more and more experiential shopping centers are being made, where the mix is now changing quite a bit. From purely shopping to now concentration on large entertainment centers, very large food courts, a lot of food offering. The size of apparel or the area that we were giving to those kind of retails is slightly reduced, and experiential की तरफ हम ज़्यादा जा रहे हैं, चाहे वो food हो, entertainment हो, some part of cinema, etc. So, Sanjeev, to you, इस साल जो हमने थोड़ा देखा है कि luxury has done extremely well, और नीचे Zudio की story हम सबको पता है, middle of the pyramid ठीक चल रहा है. उसमें भी as a category, being human is one of the most difficult category, I believe, because unisex casual, again, there's a lot of players in the market. और जो formal कर रहा था वो भी अब थोड़ा casual wear अपनी दुकानों में डालने लग गया. So how do you see this category performing, and what is your view from being human perspective on it?
So you're asking me this from a mall perspective or a high street perspective,
From a mall
omni-channel
perspective
or dark store perspective?
No, so, of course, mall and omni-channel is, of course,
Perfect.
what
Okay.
we are.
So yeah, you're right, Abhishek. See, what is happening is that, and I'm saying this on behalf of all of us, because I think we're all on the same boat. See, you have to understand, I've heard all the mall developers say what they had to say. And I'll come to how we are reacting to that. See, you have to understand that, you know how retailers work today. So today, there's nothing called loyalty. And I think somebody here mentioned, Shibu, you mentioned there's nothing called loyalty. And he's absolutely right. There is nothing called loyalty. There's something which is very, very important, is relevance. As long as you're relevant to the TG that you're operating with, you're there. The moment either your TG moves or the relevancy moves, you're not there. Which is why you will see many brands are performing extremely well in a particular area, in a particular city, in a particular zone. In a particular city, it might do very well in a particular zone and not too good in another zone. Now, what I'm trying to bring around here is very simple. The way we retailers handle our customers, understand our customers, the single voice of the customer, it is the same customer who's shopping online, it's the same customer who's coming to the mall, it's the same customer who goes to a fashion factory and buys the goods, it's the same customer who says that, boss, I'm going to wait till the end of season happens, which nowadays is more or less looking like 12 months in a year. And I'm going to pick up my stocks there, as in when the retailer blinks his eye and brings the pricing down, we'll be there. So there's so much of fuzz around. How do you survive as a brand? So you survive as a brand as long as, and we all three retailers, Sanjay Bhai is here, all of us are here, but we all agree to one thing, the point is, we all need to be together. I mean, it's not only the malls which have to be together, it has to be the retailers also who have to be together along with the malls to create that impact. अभी मैं आपको बताता हूँ बैंगलोर की स्टोरी रियल एस्टेट की, and just please allow me 2 minutes. Ali is from Bangalore. I think Shibu, you're operating out of Bangalore. There are many people here who operate out of Bangalore. Bangalore residential market mein, there is a certain amount of, price holding in the residential space. Ali, correct me if I'm wrong. So if in a particular area there is a certain price, they don't break the price just because, the consumers are after you saying that, sir, ye raha check. मुझे ये 4 bedroom या 3 bedroom इस प्राइस पे दे दो, इसका प्राइस ये था, आपका प्राइस ये था. वो जो यूनिटी है, वो यूनिटी बॉम्बे में भी दिखती है. वो यूनिटी आज रिटेलर्स में और मॉल्स में क्यों नहीं दिखती है? The question is that today, if you actually get into the mechanics of discounting, you will see how much erosion is there in terms of the gross margins. And why is that happening? Because somebody or the other is blinking, right? So that's one part of it. We'll not get into it. We can talk till the cows come home. But the fact is, how do we handle these kind of situations? How do we keep our head above the water? We keep our head above the water because we feel that, there are many other ways that we can address our consumption. There are many other ways where we can stop our gross margin erosions, and I'm not getting into details, but it's all about, how good are you buying, what is your multiple, all of that, kitna discounting hoga, so on and so forth. For being human, everybody must be wondering that, if you ask me, post-COVID, we literally started from scratch. We grew 7 times in the last 3 years. The very reason that we said it's borderless. Today, whether I open Canada, there are 3 more stores opening in Canada. There are 10 more stores opening in GCC. Why are we doing that, right? We are doing that because there are different markets which behave differently. The same way as in India, different markets behave differently. So that's the arbitrage that we play. Now, just to give you a small example, and we don't shy away from sharing our data. Anybody here who can ensure sanctity of my data, I will give instructions right now to share my entire customer data with you. But my only question is, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to address that consumer? Please discuss with us retailers and trust me.
Send your gift vouchers to them.
Sorry? Yeah, you hold me. I'm any which ways doing it with you. Your team is any which ways after me to, get into it, and we are doing it with you. See,
along with gift vouchers of pizza.
See, the point here I'm trying to make, Abhishek, is the fact that the way the tightness that happens between retail, let's say not between retailers, we know people blink within us also. But the fact is that this relationship between a mall and a retailer, I'm not saying anything wrong, please don't take me otherwise. But the way that I see Canada handling it, the way I see Majid Ul Futtaim, because we are there in their mall, and going into a couple of more of their malls, is very, very different. They are very hard, they are very strict, but at the same time, they understand what the retailer's pain is. The same way as we are expected to understand the pain of the mall. And there are many things in between that get listed. So when you launch a brand in a mall, how does how does the mall support the brand? Now, there are many malls here who will say, "Arey yaar, ye kya baat kar raha hai? We give you free this, we give you free that." Someone will say, "मैं तो तुम 30 तारीख तक खोल दोगे तो 6 महीने तक तुमसे rent नहीं ले रहा हूँ." That is not the point. You're opening 6 months because you also want occupancy to be there. It's okay. We understand that. But truly, how many malls are standing there and saying, "No, we believe," and of course, that's on their belief, that this brand can do well. And this brand can take it forward. So when we opened the international stores, we did an arbitrage model. Now, I'll give you a small data. My Bangladesh stores has a stock turn of 4. Now, Sanjay Bhai is here, Rajesh is here, I'm here, all retailers are here. Tell me, in India, if we do 2.5 ka stock turn, we jump with joy. Bangladesh does a stock turn of 4. In Canada, and I'm sharing data openly because you really can't do much with data, honestly, if you know competition data. You laugh or you cry, whichever way. In Canada, we do an average of $4,500 a day. Who's buying? It's the same diaspora which is buying, right? Look at Dubai, look at Saudi when we are looking at it. So why are we doing so well there? Because there is a level of trust between the mall, between us. Now, when we share our database with the mall, when we share a calendar with the mall goes all the way out and says, "Okay, fine, boss. How much money are you putting on the table? Let's take this forward." We have different categories. For every category, we have different marketing budgets. Now, for example, I'm planning internationally, I got a mall developer called me up and said, "Okay, fine, Sanjeev, we are opening a dark store hub in our mall. So mall hours are this much. Your store gets shut. Now, we are giving you space below in the basement, run a dark store." And this way they get about 20 brands to run dark stores, which means not only as a retailer, I'm sweating my store more, but as a mall, they are also getting money back to back throughout the non-trading hours. So it might be a very simple thing. You all can replicate it tomorrow. But I'm saying, simple things are tough to do. Tough things are very, easy to kind of decipher and talk about. So this is how we have kept our head above the water in terms of the arbitrage. And I think in India, we do extremely well in some malls. We don't perform in some malls. Non-performance for a brand should not be seen as a deficit of the brand. Non-performance of a brand should be seen as you have a family of 3 people, 3 kids. If one kid is not performing, why is that kid not performing? Do a deep dive with the brand.
नॉर्मली जो किड परफॉर्म नहीं करता आगे चल के वही बड़ा आदमी बनता है.
अब ये आप बोल रहे हो सर, मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. But the fact is, I'm not saying that find the dark horse. I'm saying do a deep dive, because success, as we said, retailers are the soul and malls are the body. So
yeah. I think those are very, very valid points. Connecting to that, I just want to ask Sanjay something, that we've all seen a huge influx of D2C brands. Every time you open Instagram, एक नया brand आपको नजर आएगा, वो jeans भी बेच रहा है, t-shirt भी बेच रहा है, dress भी बेच रहा है, and at very good value. Now that is debatable कि delivery में issues हैं, वो सारे issues हैं, but you will see a plethora of D2C brands coming in. So brands which are decades old, like yours, how do you think, where do you sit here, and how do you see the next 10 years for an established brand versus these new D2C brands who are attracting the Gen Z or the new generation towards them?
So this is purely my hypothesis, and I have not yet tested it out. So that's my disclaimer here. And we have been thinking on this since a while. I feel the D2C play is a lot to do with much more younger consumers, and consumers who are probably just kind of starting off earning money, or probably they are on pocket money yet. And for them, the wallet also comprises of many more things. And they are in that phase of their lives where all of this matter, because it's either flaunting or whatever purpose that they have for themselves. I feel that as a brand, we have always been talking about being relevant for a 15 to 25-year audience. And today, I feel people entering physical spaces are more so ever 25 and above. And I personally have this opinion that there is a time in life of every person where they use benchmarks to kind of announce their stature. And the stature in our country are also brands, right? And at different levels, these brands announce different levels of a person. And so I feel till a customer is very young where he's using fashion as a medium to kind of announce himself, he stays with D2C. And I think at some point of time he would, and he's switching to offline brands or brands which are more legacy or brands which are more out of offline to save where he is in his life or where she is in his life, in her life. And that's when I think consumers who are 25 up have started moving into physical formats. And having seen that, we kind of moved away from saying that we are a 15 to 25 audience. We have actually coined a term called the young and restless. So it kind of talks about the state of mind, which is to an extent eternal and can be eternal. And we bring also a range of products to them, which kind of makes sense in their lives and in their environment. So this is, according to me, a consumer that I would not go behind personally, because it's very difficult for legacy brands to really be so nimble on their feet. The cost of serving that customer, being in a mall and operating and also selling at that price point is a little difficult for people who are in this space. And so I think that's left best to them. And post that, we are very certain that they will move into a more organized, more physical space. And that's when you catch hold of them and be with them in that journey post that. Also, I feel, just kind of stepping a few points back, I think this crying wolf on Omni is a little too much. Because as a business, while Omni is very important, it's a good to have kind of a space. And I split Omni into two pieces over here. One is the Omni that I do through my own website, and the other I do through my aggregators like Myntra and all. The quality of operations that we experience with aggregators is so bad that it does not make sense to do Omni at all. And hence, what is left is your own website that you actually operate, which is very minuscule, very minuscule. It can actually be neglected and not discussed at all. I feel that whatever comes out of it is a bonus, but there is really nothing great to really talk about, because none of the brands, a large portion of the brands, many of the brands put in so much money to drive consumers to their website today, because it's a very expensive proposition and your P&L really doesn't allow that. Until you're funding it yourself, internal accruals, I don't think anybody in the right state of mind would really spend so much money on getting that customer on your website, not being sure about whether it's going to stay back or not. I would rather put that money on driving a customer into my store and not on my website. So for me, at least I can say about Spiker, the website is more about what we are. People are welcome to come and shop, but we are not going to drive and not going to spend so much money that we burn a hole in our pockets and eventually not end up having so many money.
तो संजय, अगर मेरे को वहाँ पे साइज नहीं मिला आपके स्टोर में, तो omni channel option of ordering that style is not available.
It is a possibility, but I'm just saying that it's not too large. I mean, we are talking about an incremental sale of not even 3 to 4%.
No, it's more about you come to a store and you said यार ये जैकेट मुझे पसंद आई थी, ये स्मॉल में है, मुझे मीडियम में चाहिए. वो कहेगा मैं गुड़गांव में, मैं नोएडा से मंगा के आपको दे देता हूँ.
वो सब होता है. अभी तो मतलब विदाउट ओमनी ऑल्सो हमारे स्टोर्स तो किसी और स्टोर को फोन करके भी करवा के दे देते हैं. इट इज बेसिकली डूइंग योर लिटिल बिट टुवर्ड्स मेकिंग दैट एक्सपीरियंस राइट फॉर द कस्टमर. वो हमारे यहाँ पे पहले से होते आया है. अब खाली जार्गन्स उसके साथ जुड़े हुए हैं और मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि हम लोग बहुत वुल्फ क्राई कर रहे हैं इसके ऊपर.
तो मैं एक अपने बिजनेस की स्टोरी देता हूँ. मुझसे हर आदमी पूछता है भैया ओटीटी ने तुम्हारे साथ क्या किया है. तो भाई लोग, सबके घर में किचन है, खाना फिर भी आप ऑर्डर करते हैं. सबके घर किचन है, आप बाहर जाके फिर भी खाते हैं. तो OTT has given a state of mind. You're consuming more. You're experiencing more. Similarly, according to me, online and omni-channel is doing the same. I may experience your brand somewhere. I may consume it somewhere else. And at times I will choose convenience, at times I'll choose speed, at times I would just want to feel how am I looking and then buy that. So I think there is no one right answer, and very well put. One question I think everybody has spoken about is collaboration. My question to the developer friends is, are you really collaborating with your retailers? Are there calendarization that is happening? I see some of you do that very, very well. But is this happening deep enough, consistent enough across all centers? Anybody could pick this up.
See, rightly said that mall is the body and retailer is the soul. If the entire body doesn't work, the body is not in good health. Every retailer in each category is today being used for the mall promotions. And in my malls, which I run 7 of them, during Karwa Chauth, it is beauty retailers which are used. During Valentine's Day, it's a different retailer. Before the wedding season starts, it's a different category of retailers who are present in my atrium displaying the best products. Every time, and India has so many festivals and so many opportunities in the 52-week calendar, every category is used. And then obviously, all the good friends in here, mall developers are analyzing each and every data per square feet and understanding where there is a downfall. And then you do category promotions for that. So it's a bread and butter for every mall developer, and they cannot survive without it. And secondly, your customers are evolving, they're growing up. So a successful mall needs to keep changing the whole, offerings to same way. So how can it keep offering? Because new brands are coming. You have to promote the brand, and there are some brands which do outperform the market. So you need to promote it because you're making your destination, more and more needed for the customers to come there. So it is a collaboration, and it is always going to remain that. Obviously, there are new models which are coming where aggregators are allowed to come into the food court and use our kitchens to get thing, and their sales are touching as close to 20%. Omni-channel sales are touching for some brands up to 10% and above. For beauty category, it's more. All the mall developers post-COVID, and because of the demand came from the retail side, are offering, for F&B, started with F&B giving them storage spaces. Now the demand has started coming in every shopping mall for storage spaces for all our fashion brands, because they want to use their retail space very much. And now in all our shopping malls, it's given that we need to dedicate some space. We rather than compromising on our parking area where we deprive our customers, we are actually making those now in a planned way. So these are things which are evolving, and Decathlon keeps asking us for play areas for the customers where they can go and entertain these customers outside. So these are things which are evolved. There are now, premium toilets getting developed, which is a pay option where people go, the luxury customers go and pay and use it. So there are things which are evolving, and I believe that, like the way Majid, David said that Dubai, 40% of their consumption is retail, GDP is retail. India retail is going to become 2 trillion. So obviously consumption has to happen, and this is the way consumption will happen. Collaborative way is the only way we can survive. And modern trade, like yesterday's study said, modern trade is only going to evolve in this country.
Madhur bhai, aap apne vichar prakat kare.
So, good afternoon, everyone. So what I would like to tell you is when we opened Tapadia City Center a couple of years back, there were hardly any retailers present in the city. And we brought approximately 70 new retailers to not just the city, but also to the region.
For the sake of people, can you tell them where you are located?
So we are located at Amravati in Maharashtra, and it's a tier 3 town. This is the first, non-starter sale, a proper mall. And it's why we've, been able to succeed is basically that since I come from the city, I know the people there. And our collaboration with the retailers started just before even opening the stores. So what we did is, just as you mentioned, that we collected the data of the people who are in the city, who are members of the Rotary Club, Lions Club, or any social clubs which are there. And we collected this data and we started sharing this data with the retailers. So that's what when we started, because we had to give them the data for them to do when they inaugurated the store, to promote the store, which hoardings are good, which newspapers are relevant for them to advertise. So our collaboration started and it is continuing there. So that's how we have to be very nimble. We have to know our city well. We have to know our people well. And at the same time, what we also did is when you do your Diwali festivals or when you do any summer festival where you collate your data, when you give certain vouchers, you collect data. We share this data regularly with our retailers, so that in that case they can also share this, use that data, relevant data for them. And one specific thing I would like to mention, which I've found excellent, where nowadays every retailer is either on Instagram or on WhatsApp marketing. But what they are actually doing is basically that they are directing the traffic entirely to their either the website or just to their Instagram account. One retailer which I would like to say, I would not name it, and has done excellently well, is then when they send a WhatsApp message, they mention that, such and such offer or such and such new collection is available, head to your nearest store at Tapadia City Center. Now, when they mention in the message that head to Tapadia City Center, of course, there's a link provided to shop online also. But then when they mention that, okay, this is the nearest store, that is what makes a person to come to that store also.
But
And that is very
successes should be
relevant.
celebrated. बता दीजिए. बुराई नहीं करनी चाहिए, अच्छाई तो कर
No,
सकते
no,
हैं.
I'll be upfront. It was a bestseller who've done this. And not just this, Sanjay Bhai is here, and a couple of weeks back we were there in a panel discussion. And we all discussed that how we could implement, each of us could implement. And that's how we've thought of, whatever are the good strategies, we should start implementing and using those. Whatever is relevant for us, what makes us work together is more relevant. That is something which is good.
थैंक यू. अभिषेक, आपने जब पहली मॉल खोली थी, आपका वहाँ पे बिग बॉक्सेस का कितना परसेंटेज था?
It was over 60%. And I remember when I first designed the mall and I took it to a retailer, he said, please count the number of shops. So I said about 130. Okay, that now list 130 retailers. I couldn't list 130 retailers. This was 20 years ago.
Correct. We opened the cinema there together. So, मेरा question, आप maybe in orbit, Rajneesh, you can answer. So, from a 70 to 80% big boxes, now I think it has considerably come down to 50 to 60%. Obviously, there is an evolution that has happened. There is also a retail mix which has changed. मेरा इसका एक दूसरा question ये है, are we big boxes getting the right sizing? Are we as the developers are also doing that at our end? And departmental stores are shrinking, going, and Planet M and Barista was a great example for people who may not even know these brands. So maybe if you can exemplify that, give some inputs there, and I think I would want Nexus as well as Forum to also kind of give their inputs.
So, there's a huge difference when it comes to a retailer side of real estate story and a developer side of real estate story. For a retailer, real estate is a temporary decision. I sign, I can give you a notice and a move out. It's a temporary decision. Of my 500 stores, I take a hit on 10% of them, and it's okay. For a real estate developer, real estate is a permanent story. So the discussions, differences start there, because the temporary in nature versus permanent in nature. For us, once we construct, we have to live with it for 20 years, 20, 30 years before we can make a serious change to the sizes. Like, can give you an example. Malad, we started with 7-screen multiplex. Today we are 11 screens multiplex. We started with 4 restaurants. Today we are 12 restaurants. So huge change has happened over the years. Same in Hyderabad, we started with 82% anchors. Today we are down to 66% anchors. A huge amount of transition happened in the mall. And luckily, as a group, we always held every single square inch, and we were free to do whatever we wanted to do. If some part of that was sold, the difficulties will come in. But to understand the trends for future and understand the sizing of the stores is a huge challenge. While we are developing and taking 4-5 years, the retailer side of real estate goes through a change twice in that, right?
Yeah.
We were sitting with a very large retailer in the country. When they entered India, they said 25,000 or don't even talk to us. Then they came down to 6,000.
वही है ना जैसे पिक्चर बनाते हैं ना 24 से 36 महीने लगते हैं
हाँ.
उसमें.
So, you know, वो 25,000 don't even talk to us, to 6,000, then now settled at around 11, 12,000. Now, while you are settling and unsettling, I can't keep pouring concrete differently.
correct.
The story at my side is so permanent. So, there is a challenge, and I think it is on the developer to understand what you are creating.
So you are the conductor then. You are conducting this orchestra.
Well,
And
I
you
don't
are
think I'm
the
even
last.
conductor. I think I'm a manufacturer. I am conducting that telco bus. I need to decide how many axles required. I need to understand how much load I will carry. I also need to understand at some stage, can I convert this bus into a truck if my bus doesn't work? Because, and Abhishek has gone through that phase where he constructed a mall and the retailer at the time of inauguration said, no, I think my business plan has changed. I can't take that mall. And then what you
So
do?
we
इसमें एक
convert
बड़ा
it to a
important
truck, yeah.
Right?
इसका
And then you
important
have to
follow up
convert-
है.
Then you have to convert that bus into a truck saying, I can't do the bus. Let me at least carry load. Because engine is there, the axles are there. So it is a huge risk. It's like making a movie. You may have Shah Rukh Khan, you may have Kajol, and you can have a, DDLJ, and then you can also have Dil Jale. You don't know which side you are going to fall.
Correct.
And the money can go up and money can go down. It's a high risk business.
So a quick.
I'd like to add to that. I think we have to separate the categories. So when it comes to fashion, maybe there are a lot of changes which are happening, but there are some categories where big boxes are getting bigger and becoming more interesting. Like in Forum South Bangalore, we used to have 10,000 square feet gaming zones, time zone, fun city, so on and so forth, 10,000. So in Forum South Bangalore, we opened a 50,000 square feet, and I think Lulu has opened even bigger, but close to 1 lakh square feet. So the bigger these boxes are becoming, the more interesting. And we are also inaugurating in Forum South Bangalore, probably next month, it's almost done, 50,000 square feet microbrewery. And then we were started off with 25,000 square feet. We signed with an operator. By the time he was half into fit outs, he came and said, I want additional 25,000. So we had that space, so we gave. So now we have a 50,000. So these, the bigger, the better, because in Bangalore, 1 lakh square feet microbrewery
Exists and does well.
$1 million US turnover per month and 100 crores per annum is happening like that. So, so these are becoming bigger. Cinema, in terms of cinema, the IMAXs and all these experiences, they require heights, they require size. So those formats need space. So bigger, the better. And I think we are all responding to that. All our malls that we are building now is minimum 50,000 square feet gaming and a 50,000 square feet microbrewery. As far as fashion is concerned, I think it also depends on how you want to program between online, offline, in a hybrid model or what model, but it's an interface space. And thankfully, as far as malls are concerned, the columns are fixed, walls can keep moving. So we can keep removing the walls and adding the walls. So as far as the columns are fixed, we can always play with that. Another point, what Sanjeev said, what you would do with data. At least Sanjeev was brave enough to speak. I have not come across retailers speak like that. I will share the data, but first tell me what you would do. So this is what we are working at Prestige Group, Forum Malls. We are talking with the tech firm. So the data is not with us. We are talking with tech firms who do casinos. So they have programs where they do predictions. So if we have the data of the customers, women, what they are buying, how they are buying, what age group, men, and then what is selling, what is not selling, what colors. If that data can go to them, they run through their system and they tell the mall guys that this is your audience. They are the kind of events that you should do. They are the kind of brands that you should avoid. They are the kind of restaurants that you should not have. Because footfall is not good news. Footfall is not success. Footfall is bad news. They shut down a mall. After it was opened, the footfalls made the mall close. So it's not a good news at all. So we are talking about, so there's a Pareto's principle. The Pareto's principle says that 80% of the business comes from 20% of the customers. So if we know who those 20% customers are, and we can't know, so we are coming up with a solution. It's costing us a lot of time, effort, and money. And I will come back soon to all the retailers saying that you're not giving the data to me, your data is protected, and it is going to this firm who's taking that data, breaking it down, and it'll tell you this is what so hence your sizing can change. Your clothing, the colors can change, patterns can change. So because it's mall is a local business. So we built some malls with CapitaLand Singapore, and they have hundreds of malls. And one thing that I really learned from them is when they said, and they always believe in this thought process, and they carried this thought process that mall is a local business. So what happens in South Mumbai doesn't happens in North, and what happens in South Bangalore doesn't happen in Delhi. South Delhi is different from Gurgaon. So it's all about the immediate catchment, and with the infrastructure, you don't have time is a commodity, so you can't travel. So hence, we have to understand what is happening around us and which side this customer is tilting. So this agency gives a prediction and gives the probability. They have a probability theory. So they will say, this is what will work for you guys. And we all can move in that direction.
So my question is, why it cannot be pooled in by top 5-10 developers? The data pool will increase, your shared cost will decrease, and the whole ecosystem will benefit. It will then, you're giving back to the community across, and you have a larger pool.
Malls are sitting with a very minute data, which is...
Yeah, तुम सारे filmmakers की तरह हो कि हम एक दूसरे से producers.
Which side are you in? Mall side, right? You're supposed to be with the mall side, not retailer side.
No, I think Sanjeev has a point to make here.
Ali,
that-
the truth is universal,
Yeah.
whichever side you might be.
I have a question for Ali. So Ali, you're investing, see, this is where I was coming to. You're saying that you're going to invest into a company, into a tech firm, which is going to tell you what we retailers should do, right? Okay, I'll just turn the question around. Please approach all retailers, and trust me, we all have predictive AI analysis tools with us, which tells us 6 months in advance how the trend is changing. You know,
सिर्फ फैशन के लिए हो जाएगा ना?
नहीं, मैं सर एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ क्योंकि मैं फैशन इंडस्ट्री से हूँ.
ठीक है सर.
तो that way, footwear can have its own, and they have
मेरा
many.
सिर्फ ये कहना है, उनके पास 7 मॉल्स हैं, इन भाई के पास 5 है, उनके पास मेरे साथ 12-13 होंगी. 17 है सर, सॉरी, गलती होगी भाई साहब. 4 ही है. मेरा पॉइंट ये है, ये इकट्ठा हो जाए. Imagine the intelligence, imagine the resources.
सर, आपका जो सवाल है उसी का जवाब है कि हमने अली साहब से ही मॉल लिए और जो कोलैबोरेशन की बात है, हमने कोलैबोरेशन रिटेलर के साथ किया, राइट साइज भी कर दिया. और जैसे हमने स्पार था, 3 places in Hyderabad, Chennai, Shantiniketan, Bangalore, we right sized them. Today the TD has increased, Spar is happy, mall is happy, everything is done well. So collaboration is always there. It is not that there is no collaboration. In fact, sharing of information is also there. I'm sure that Sanjay ji will also say that there is a mail that comes from Nexus which gives the sale across all our malls on a monthly basis to all our retailers. So there is a specific department that is for that. So we are sharing data, we are enlightening this thing, and we are asking for collaboration. And I think it is happening as we speak.
Jayen ji, just to let you know, देखिए, collaboration तो आप बोल रहे हो, but just taking back to Abhishek knows and he's laughing. So, okay, so what happens, when you do large stores, और अगर वो large hypermarket को आप काटते हो तो वो collaboration नहीं है. वो आप basically ये बोल रहे हो कि भाई साहब देखो ऐसा है कि आप perform नहीं कर रहे हो.
एक example दे सर, हमने right size भी किया. For example, there are stores like Skechers which have double the size also with ours.
I agree. No, I'm talking particularly
So
to
with
the
paucity
brand.
of time, I'm kind of helping. 3:03 minute और 40 second है हमारे पास. We would want to take the audience questions. Kindly introduce yourself and maybe direct the question.
Gentleman at the back raised his hand.
Any mics over there?
Or you can speak aloud.
Thank you.
Over there.
थोड़ा भाग जाइए भैया.
My name is Jayesh Dedia. I am the 3rd generation retailer, director of One Stop Retail. And we were predominantly in malls and in the backdrop of the 2 biggest lockdowns. And the permanent behavior of customer changing because even generations of 50s and 60s were veering to online. And I agree with few of the retail friends that trading in marketplaces is a losing proposition, and building your own website and getting customer traction is not a PNL positive exercise. So in that case, I would have loved if the mall owners themselves would have done something more to bring back the customers, share the understanding, and collaborate much more actively. For example, a simple thing like what kind of walk-ins are we getting on the big days, the Daseras and the 26th January? People, I find mall people, because they think that their rentals will be negotiated, they don't give the correct data. Because what my physical eye is seeing, the 26th January of 2020 and 2019 is not the same as 2022 and 2023. So I would have, when the customer itself is going through a change, that kind of collaboration needs to be much, much more actively and at different levels.
सर वो बड़े सेंटर्स कर रहे हैं, अलग-अलग डिग्री अलग होगी.
तुषार,
सर मैं भी बड़े सेंटर में हूँ बॉम्बे
I
में.
really liked what Sanjay bhai said.
बॉम्बे के बेस्ट सेंटर्स में मेरा दुकान है.
Retail is a very simple business. Unfortunately, we have appointed a lot of MBAs like me who only use jargons, and the biggest jargon today is collaboration. Like, I want to collaborate. I want to share my marketing calendar. Who do I share with? Your corporate office, your store manager, your regional manager?
Absolutely.
Do you as a retailer,
Who's the deciding authority?
Who in your retail chain is the decision maker? And he's talking about footfall count, and I don't know where you experience that people are not telling you footfall count. You speak to 5 retailers next door. We in our mall gets regional managers visiting. They don't even meet the center director. And they go back and say footfall is less. You don't even know the data. From the first job I did in retail, my store manager used to say my sale is down because footfall is less. It was 25 years back. Today also is the same reason. I agree. Scientifically, we have not grown. There was only one time that I came across where my store manager said that I did a lot of sale because footfall was less, and I was surprised why it happened. It rained heavily in Mumbai that day. Everybody who was in store was stuck for 5 hours. They had to eat everything that barista had to offer that day. And for a lesser footfall, we had a higher sale. Other than that exception, in 25 years, I have not heard any evolved explanation of sale not happening. People should say, I did not have stock. They should fight for displays not being done. They should get feedback to their management saying, is the jargon, and I completely believe that we need to put a system in place saying if we have to collaborate, who is the decision maker? How much is the budget allocated? Can that guy spend 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, 1 lakh rupees? If there is no chain of command, there is no action.
I agree fully. I agree fully. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think this was a great Mahasangam, I would call it. And as Rajneesh puts it, collaborative effort. I hope this collaborative effort continues to grow for the betterment of everyone and the industry. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.